Welcome to another episode of the Married Game Podcast with a voice you trust when it comes to lust and where who you hire when she lacks desire. Maybe you've heard of this tea. It's very famous, called Bova. It's got nothing on our friend on today's show, Tony Bova. Welcome to the show, bro.
Thanks, man.
Let's go, dude.
Here, yeah.
Massachusetts State Trooper turned transformational coach.
Yeah.
Is almost as controversial as ex-pastor turned sex coach. So we had to lean in, and I want to know what's the story. I want to know about the emotion from leaving a paid job by the state to creating your own thing, the whole story along.
Yeah,
we want to know the story.
Yeah, so actually it was funny. I was talking with Sabrina as we were driving down here today, because we're from Massachusetts. We were in town.
You have the coolest accent ever.
So
we think so.
You think so? Does it sound like a Bostonian accent?
Kind of, but here's the thing: is Boston has major. That's where I asked Jesse to love me on 11/11/11 was in Boston. So like that city is like so near and dear to Jesse and his heart.
Yeah, no, it's a very cool city.
Yeah,
a lot of history and stuff.
Sure,
but we were driving down from. I was at my brother. My brother lives in Ronaldo Beach area. And so we're driving down and I was like, oh shit, honey. Like actually the last time I was in Dana Point, like a lot of shit was going on in my life. And you're asking me about my story. Like how did that transform? And as we were driving down, I had forgotten like that story where I was actually like attending a wedding that I wasn't invited to.
Nice.
And I'll kind of dive into that maybe a little bit later, but to go back into my story, I grew up in a pretty religious Christian home, and my parents were high school sweethearts.
Okay.
They had never been with anybody else other than the two of them. And so they didn't get married, I think, until they were like after college or whatnot. And they didn't have sex before they got married.
Oh, shit.
It was like, so this was like they attended Catholic, a Catholic high school. And then I think my mom, I don't know, she went to Catholic college as well. But my dad got really involved with this organization called the Navigators.
Okay, I've heard of it.
Yeah, and I kind of grew up in that environment, almost kind of like a PK. Where I was around
very similar.
Very similar, yeah.
Yeah.
So my dad was he ended up moving
pastor's kids, for those of you who didn't grow up in the church. PK's pastor's kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of grew up with that story of, you find your high school sweetheart, you fall in love, you don't have sex until you get married. Not just like being told, but like that was the story that they had. So that was the expectation that I had.
Of course.
So as I was growing up, my dad was a director for the Navigators, and I was around a lot of college students and church and that environment. And when I was about 13, we went up to Maine for like a men's weekend, just the two of us, and we came down into Hampton Beach. I remember that in New Hampshire, and he asked me to save myself for marriage. And at 13, I had no idea like what I was saving myself from. I was 13 years old.
Yeah, of course.
My pecker was just getting hard for the first time.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I don't really, and we didn't, but then we didn't talk about sex.
Okay.
And so I kind of grew up with this, okay, you don't do this, the shame piece.
Sure.
And at 17, I lost my virginity, didn't tell anybody, was like kind of rooted in pornography, but it was all shame. It was all like hidden in the dark. I didn't know what to do with these things. So at 19, I like recommitted myself to Christ, and I made a vow to myself I wasn't going to have sex before I got married from 19. And I held true to that value until I was 25, ended up marrying one of the girls that was in the Navigator organization that I was a part of at college.
Got it.
And we didn't have sex until we got married. And so I didn't really know what to expect.
Sure.
And not that everything is about sex or life like that, but and the different components. But we got married. And during that time, I had fallen in love with law enforcement.
Okay.
So I got a job at the local university as a police cadet, and I had no idea what I was really getting myself into. I just was a little eccentric, and I wanted to do something that was active, that was outside, where I could meet problems right in front of me.
Yeah. Not being some desk job doing
I wanted
bullshit.
I think I told myself at like 16, 17 I wanted to be in business and be a millionaire, but after that I was like, well, does that really make sense? Because I was not admin.
Everybody probably told you, no, you can't do that, right?
Yeah,
Did
definitely.
They?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Well, I also grew up dyslexic and with ADHD, so I struggled all throughout high school and college.
So you gained a lot of cool superpowers none of us had to.
A ton of them.
Yeah.
I have a ton of superpowers.
Fuck yeah, dude.
But that really helped me.
Has anybody mentioned your mustache as a superpower?
Yeah, they love it. They call it the porn stash. Like when I'm on YouTube, like I get razzed on it all the time. But I was like, I actually just started to grow it like maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this would be part of my brand.
Yeah.
Like
that's what's happened with me and my beard.
Yeah.
I just started growing this, 6 months ago, maybe? Yeah. Maybe 9 months ago.
I can't shave it now. I'm like, oh man.
My wife said, Jesse didn't even like it. Did your girl like your mustache at first?
She did. She was so surprised by it.
Okay.
Yeah. She was like, I'm really surprised that I like that.
Because it's coming in so thick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jessie did not like my beard at first.
No? Rough on her face?
Which, no, I don't think she liked the way it looked. I think there was some, we're gonna find out when, I'll have to tell her about this and see what her response is. And we'll see how accurate what I'm saying right now to you is. And then on our next show, when she's on, I'll ask her, hey, tell us, is this the reason? She hasn't told me yet, but these are my guesses. It's pretty white, so I think she thinks it makes me look older.
Silver fox.
Well, I get 10 compliments a day. I'm very fucking happy with my beard.
I like it.
So she goes like this. She goes, oh, I don't like that. And my direct response to her was, you don't have to grow one. And she was like, were you there when I said it? Yeah. It's not for you. It's not for you. Don't grow one. And then about 3 months later, she's like, you know what? I actually like that beard. And now she's like, whatever, you don't fucking shave that beard. I'm like, well, I might.
Yeah.
I might.
Yeah.
You weren't a part of the board advisors growing it. You're not going to be a part of the board advisors if we mow it.
I 100% agree.
Anyway, but anyhow, that's a superpower. So you go through dyslexic, all the letters.
What ended up happening was I spent like 10 years pursuing it. So 2008, when the recession hit, was when I graduated college.
Okay.
And so I started taking exams and tests and stuff over and over again. I actually have like a binder at home that has like over 150 rejection letters from all across the country.
Wow.
Like from Oregon down to Florida.
From the police departments?
From the police departments. Because when the recession hit, everybody wanted to become a cop because it was so safe, because it was a government job and people were getting laid off at the time, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
So it was like 1,000 applicants to one. And at the time,
shit.
I was so honest. I think I smoked weed a couple different times. I think I sold a bag of a couple joints to my buddy. And I wrote all this stuff on my background thinking, oh, like my integrity, they're going to see that I'm a good guy. And I got disqualified like over and over again for this one little thing. And then so I transitioned and I got my paramedic license, ended up working on Boston EMS for a period of time. But then, I got a letter in the mail from the state police, and I was like, fuck, like I've worked so hard to get here.
Yeah.
I gotta take it.
Yeah.
And so I went, and I didn't want to join the state police because they had the hardest academy one of the hardest in the country.
Really?
Yeah, it's overnight. It's very similar to like if you went to Marine. I had a bunch of my buddies that were in my class. They were ex-Marines, and they were like, I would take the Marine Corps over this any day of the week.
Oh shit.
Obviously, we were a little bit older too, so we're all in like our 30s. So it's like a little different, 18 to 30.
Yeah.
But graduated, and then so this is, and I know this is the part you want to kind of hear where things transition. Actually, transitioned pretty quickly after that.
Oh shit.
But I got in, and so worked 10 years to get there. Had this whole religious thing. I had another kid on the way at the time. After when I graduated, and about a year in, I'm in my car, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I worked so hard to get here.
Mm.
I was married, I had kids, I hit I had all these goals that I had set out, and I worked really, really hard for it. And then I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't feel fulfilled.
Mm. I remember that feeling.
Yeah. And so what then I started to get really depressed, and I wasn't much of a drinker for a period of time, but I was drinking a little bit more, working the eve shift, and I started watching this show and talk about manifestation, man. But I was watching, Mad Men, the show, the TV series.
Yes.
So, Draper, or whatever his name is in the show, like, he's just running around on his wife. Mm-hmm. And so I started, like, at the time, me and my wife, my ex-wife, we weren't doing very well. And I had a lot of mentors. I would always go and I'd be discipled or whatever it was. And
like through the Christian thing?
Through the navigators. They were big on discipleship. And so they were
reading your Bible, making sure you're keeping straight, right?
Yeah. And so I would go to them for counsel and stuff like that. And I was always being told, no, you guys are doing wonderful. You're doing great. You're communicating. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not happy. Like not that happiness is the thing, but like we're not having sex. Like I don't really understand like what's going on here. I see a lot of
fruit here, coach.
Yeah. I'm like, this doesn't seem like what I thought marriage was going to look like. Cause I had a lot of expectations, I think, too, at the time, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like kind of in this space, and I think for about 6 months, I kind of checked out. And I started fantasizing about what would it be like I had just reached the top of my mountain. Yeah. So my ego was like the highest it had ever been. Because I was like, man, stay true. They drilled it into you. Like, you're a trooper. You're better than everybody else. Like, it was like this whole ego driven thing. And I was like, huh. And I started to fantasize about having this affair. And then lo and behold, that old connection from when I was much younger, we kind of connected. And we started talking.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, and it was, and then I started making the most erratic decisions I've ever. Like, I was the good boy that grew up that nobody saw anything like this coming from.
Yeah.
Then I didn't actually stay in that space very long, Keith. I made really rash decisions very quickly within like 4 weeks.
Okay, which ones?
And I left my wife.
Okay.
I basically moved out instantaneously, and I told her I wanted a divorce, like out of the blue. And it was interesting because I was pretty close with my pastor at the time. They're actually still friends, but it was a Presbyterian church, and we were having breakfast one day, and he was like asking me questions, and I was sharing a little bit. He's like, "Are you gonna have an affair?" And I was like, "How did you know that?" Like, and it was like I got called out, like, and then it actually wasn't a good thing, because it actually pushed me, like, emotionally to go and find her, the one that I was leaving with, and that kind of triggered the whole, like, and not to blame him by any means, but it triggered like my reactions to it, because it was almost like I was caught. Yeah. And so I started to make those rasher decisions, and then left. And my marriage was, well, it was, there was arguments and there was frustration, but it was stable. We didn't talk about divorce. Like, that wasn't something that came up. The relationship I entered into was the polar opposite of that. And it was too much excitement and too toxic.
Take me back to the first marriage real quick. Were you guys weren't having much sex?
No.
Did you talk about it at all with her, or was there? No, what was tell me that conversation?
Yeah. So,
and then I want to get into fucking wild lady conversation.
Yeah. There's plenty of stories. But the conversations around sex, like, we were the first ones in our friend group to get married. So I didn't have anybody that was in my peer group to be able to bounce a lot of this stuff off. Also, we just didn't talk about sex. Yeah. Not me and her, but anybody else, because it was just shame. Yeah. It was shame associated with it. It was darkness. It was, we don't talk about that stuff. Yeah. Like, I didn't talk about porn with my buddies. I didn't talk about those different things. And I would bring it to her attention. I was like, hey, I'm like, I want to figure this out. Like, we're married. Like, I waited for you. Like, this is like part of the game. Like, so why is? And
what would she say when you said that stuff?
She would say,
what was her excuse? What was the reason?
It was, she didn't feel safe.
Okay.
She didn't feel comfortable. And then there was, like, and this is probably one that, like, stabs the most, was that, like, well, because what she experienced before and prior relationships, she didn't feel comfortable in it. And that was like, and
meaning like before, it was just like
before,
her
partners previous to me
made her feel dirty or naughty.
Felt like whatever it was that I wanted was actually inappropriate, or
was like if you wanted a blowjob and her previous boyfriend said, no, that's gross.
I think I got one blowjob my 8 years of marriage.
Oh, yeah, that'll drive him into divorce.
Yeah, with a condom on.
Yeah. Okay, so it just wasn't talked about much. Dude, that was my similar Christian experience. It's like they had some books like His Needs, Her Needs.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really. It was almost kind of like figure it out and maybe talk to the one lady who seems to be sexually liberated in the corner, but she's also kind of kooky.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Am I painting the picture pretty accurately?
Well, that was the priority. It was like if she was, you don't want to be unequally yoked.
Yeah.
And so like the priority wasn't necessarily... Yeah, and I see and visualize sexuality so differently now. I have a very deep understanding of it, and feel very healthy in it, and have a good foundation in it. But the priority was like she has to be a Christian, and so like that was the priority. Yeah, that trumped attraction or polarity or whatever. That's
exactly
it was.
What happened with me too.
Yeah.
She had to be good for a pastor's wife.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So pastor's wife and freaky slut is not always the same, sold in the same package.
Right.
You know
well, I remember too, like,
you know what I mean? It's not always together.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I get it. I get it. But I would bring up books.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't we read? I would try to like do it.
Like the His Needs, Her Needs one?
I can't remember which one it was, but I can't remember the pastor at the time too. It was
and was she like, "Oh, are you reading this so you can have more sex?"
I told her I wanted her to read. I was very forward with her about it. I was like, "Why is this a problem?" Like,
what did she say? Just I don't feel safe, I don't feel comfortable, because a lot of guys are in that very fucking stage right now.
She couldn't really articulate.
Got it.
I mean, now I know.
Yeah.
Why? But like, why? Because I was very much a giver, which in some regards sexually there was some really good components. Like she was able to orgasm and stuff like that. So it wasn't, and I wouldn't want to sleep with her if she didn't want to sleep with me back. So like that was like, I would never push it past that point. But there was one, I didn't understand what was going on internally for me and my emotions. The other thing was I was a nice guy for like the longest time. And I would say yes to so many things and not kind of hold my ground in it. Like there was time that I was like, I'm Italian. I'm very eccentric. I can be intense, where I definitely did hold my ground, but I didn't understand what I needed to hold my ground on or why, and I'd be frustrated or whatever. And so I know now, like I wasn't actually able to provide that safety for her, that I was in tune with myself to be able to be grounded in those moments. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, I remember standing, we live in a triple decker in Boston on the top apartment. And I remember standing like so many times in our kitchen, like frozen. And I'm not a frozen guy. Like I'm a fight guy. Like if something's coming at me, I'm like instinctually, let's go. But with her, I froze like a kid. And I couldn't remember what the arguments were about, but it was consistent. But I can remember the conversations I was having, which were, why is this happening right now? The neighbors are going to hear. What are people going to think? Like, why is she yelling at me? It was because there was even a time where when we were at my parents' house, like she would yell at me in front of my parents and stuff like that. And my dad actually was like, hey, you can't. We have neighbors and stuff, like you can't talk to him that way. And so it was just like this unbelievable confusion about what was happening inside of like this relationship that was supposed to be ordained by God. That was like, I had waited for. I was like, why? Like, why? I was a good boy. Like, why? And that whole good boy thing. Yeah. And so that was the thing that, as I look back, I was operating out of this younger version of myself that
was looking for approval,
looking to be seen, looking to be heard, looking to be loved. I think I am still now very sensitive, but like extremely sensitive, where my feelings would be hurt very easily. And I didn't understand that component or what was appropriate for me to hold or not hold. My dad's intense. So, he's my family on my dad's side is very emotional. And so kind of conceded to like, I'm just emotional, but I didn't understand, like I had this masculine piece where I was, going into law enforcement and could meet like these dark things. Like, I don't think we talked about it yet, but like the last 8 years I've been doing homicide investigations.
Oof.
So I was confused a lot.
As you're telling your story, I'm thinking about mine back in the day when I was reading his needs, her needs. And I was like, shit, I didn't know anything either. I felt super lost back then as well. Not even realizing I wasn't even attractive. Like there was nothing attractive about me that would have made her want to be like, oh my God, I can't wait to get my clothes off.
Yeah.
I didn't, that concept didn't even cross my mind that, oh, well, she's not attracted to you.
Protecting and providing peace, right? That's a huge piece of masculinity.
Yeah.
It's a huge piece of like what we do provide from a physical and external piece. But we don't really ever talk about like the emotional or the spiritual pieces of that provision.
Yeah.
Because I did provide and I did protect. I bought her a dog that was very specifically like trained to be aggressive and stuff like that when I was like at work or whatever. So like I covered those bases from an external standpoint where we would think, that is what we're supposed to do. And a lot of guys are like, oh, and I have to, like, I pay for things and I protect her, but that they lose sight of these things that are actually running underneath the surface and the root causes.
Mm-hmm. And they can't emotionally connect with their wife at all.
No, because they don't know
what that means.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny to like look back. Like there's a huge narrative right now too. Like we're all human, so we all have emotions, and so you either go hard right where you share too much and you're talking too much about your emotions, or you go hard left and you're so stoic that there's no emotions passing through you at all.
Yeah.
And how, like, that's actually not how the energy works for the men and women together when they want to create that polarity.
Sure.
So, but none of this was talked about. Like this wasn't,
you're right. None of it was. I didn't hear any of this in the church, from a pastor, from a book, nobody.
Yeah. No, I learned mine through just straight up failure.
Same.
Same. Yeah.
I'm wondering how come once you figure it out and you see beyond the veil, you go, why isn't anybody talking about this?
Yeah.
And then you realize, fuck, they can't.
Yeah.
They can't. The stuff that you and I are just have a regular conversation. Oh, if your wife's not sucking your dick, it means she's actually not attracted to you. And you need to actually learn what's attracted to you. And probably reading your Bible is not going to be it. You can't talk about that.
Yeah.
Because why? Well, isn't Jesus enough? Not if you want your wife horny for you. No, he has fucking nothing to do with it. In my opinion.
Yeah,
you might have a different opinion.
I 100% agree with you.
Jesus might be cool, but dude, it ain't going to get her wet.
Well, I don't even think, like, actually, I think you could even root it back. Jesus does want you to get her wet, but there's biological and there's hormonal pieces that were rooted in instinct throughout time.
Do you think Jesus had sex?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I've never actually thought about that.
Do you think he was rich?
No, I don't think he was rich. I do think...
Why not?
I think the humbleness of what his story meant was like he was a very conscious being, and that he... I just see different levels of consciousness at this point and enlightenment. I don't think he needed it.
Got it.
I don't see, oh man, for some of my friends, it's so controversial to talk about these things, but like, I still truly believe in Jesus.
Okay.
But I don't see him in the same light as the savior that needs to be the savior.
Yeah.
That we all are looking to be rescued with.
Got it.
And so that he was trying to bring a message of love, and that love was against fear, and that they took the story of him and they turned it into this story that was actually an even deeper fear of shame and guilt and judgment.
Yeah.
And that was the narrative in the program I was running prior.
Yeah.
Same. And then went through this season where I was like in the dark for like 2 years. I actually almost killed myself. Like I pulled my gun out on a shift and was like contemplating it. And that season, I remember it where I was like, I wouldn't even want to go to the grocery store. And so like I'm so grateful for that though, Keith, because that season broke everything.
Yeah.
That I had built up until that point because it
needed
needed to be
in your mind.
my mind, my body, everything, like my spirit. Like there's, one of the biggest things that I want to bring to guys is understand that like shame does not need to exist for you. It's actually the enemy. The shame breeds shame, and that it's like a cancer inside of you, because if you are ashamed of the fact that you're imperfect, then you don't get to experience life in the way that you were meant to experience, which is actually getting connected to God, you actually can be connected even deeper when you remove that stuff.
Do you think people can understand that in religion?
It would be very difficult because we're all kind of, we all are looking through life in our own lenses. I think the guys that go through something and they're in this space of like, they feel the pain in their gut. Might resonate with that, but it might be a little challenging for them to.
I didn't realize your story had so much. I had to leave the religion piece of it too. Like the character, or I affectionately call it like the mascot. Like Jesus is the Christian mascot, and Moses is the Jewish mascot, and Allah or Muhammad is kind of like the Muslim mascot, right? You've got like the different, like that's our guy, and if you say anything that we don't agree with, fuck you, kind of attitude.
Yeah, it's like black and white thinking. Yeah.
100%. But I didn't realize your journey was a part of that.
Yeah.
To me, that might be the hardest journey that anybody's ever gone. Even leaving from, one economics, looking for a paycheck for somebody to go create your own, that's a big jump. But leaving the religion, wow. That's a tough one.
I've faced these things through my life in a way where, I see them as gifts now.
Sure.
Because,
Same.
Because it's freed me. Like I feel very free.
Oh man, explain that, because that's all we try and teach around here is how for a man to be free. But this one seems to be the like they still need permission from God to be free, which means they're not actually free. So it's like, how do you explain it?
Freedom really looks like being able to move towards the things that you feel most deeply called to.
Yeah.
And that freedom, real freedom for me is like, I think we're all very uniquely created, and that in that creation, we all have our own gifts. Like we're all very good at certain things.
Yeah.
And that as you peel back layers, like as you go through life and you experience these challenges that come up, that if you actually lean into them and you allow the layers to be peeled back, that you become more and more authentic. Like even being on this podcast, like I can't even imagine talking to you on camera and sharing parts of these stories that I haven't shared publicly, right? Like 6 months ago, even I would have been like, no. So the ability to move into what's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
At the expense
makes you more relatable too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I'm getting more comfortable sharing those pieces. Like there's no resistance for me about sharing my story because I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah.
And I think that piece shows that, even if they haven't experienced something at that level, that being able to go into it is actually the answer for it. And so like the freedom piece for me is like, I don't want to be limited. I don't want to be limited by relationships. I don't want to be limited by financial resources. I don't want to be limited by what I can say, because I think that our words are powerful and that they're energy. And it was a big reason why I wanted to leave law enforcement was I was limited. I'm just starting out on social media because I wasn't on social media because we were told not to. It was another program that I was a part of.
Yeah.
And so it was breaking free from that. I attribute my ability to do that more easily now because of what I went through about 8-9 years ago at this time.
With the religion or
with the religion, with believing my marriage and we haven't even really touched on what that actually looked like. It was insane. It was.
Let's touch on it.
Let's touch on it.
Yeah.
Well,
what's the most insane part about it?
I actually haven't told this story, but
Let's hear it.
Yeah, the night I told my ex-wife I was going to leave her, and I actually came to her. It was like 2 a.m. I'd just gotten back from what was supposed to be a solo retreat for myself, which was intended to be a solo retreat, but didn't turn into a solo retreat.
Okay.
And came back, and I was like, I'm leaving you. And we were in our apartment in the same kitchen that I was just describing earlier. I was having all these arguments. And I was flat out, I'm leaving you for somebody else. Like I wasn't trying to hide it, was trying to own the whole thing. And she's like, no, you're not. And I was like, yeah, I am. And she was like, no, you're not. And she ended up calling our pastor. She called one of the deacons. She called my whole family, all of our friends. And I ended up leaving the apartment and went for a walk. And one of my friends came and found me. It's like 3:00 in the morning in Boston.
Yeah.
And he came and found me, and I just saw him like, what are you doing here? So I'm here for you. And I just like dropped to my knees and I just started like tears coming out because I'm like, this like so overwhelmed. I didn't even really know how to process any of that.
Yeah.
Came back into the apartment and my, the house was full. It was like 2:00, 3:00 in the morning. The house was full of all our people. And my daughter's sleeping in the other room. I'm sitting in this chair, and then my parents come up into the apartment at like 4 a.m. And I'm like, what are you guys doing here? And they're my mom was upset, like very clearly upset. And, my dad just didn't know what to do. And I was so confronted that I literally ran out of the apartment, didn't have my keys, didn't have anything. I was just the shirt off my back, running down a couple of blocks towards the train station, had no plan. One of the deacons chasing after me. I was like, am I in a foot chase right now?
Wow, like, dude.
I was a trooper for about a year at that point, right? So I'm getting chased to the train station. I don't even know what I'm doing. And he ended up like, and I called a buddy. I'm like, dude, I need a place to stay right now. And ended up getting picked up by him, staying at his place. And I not knowing what I was doing at that point. I didn't have a car. I think I called out of work for maybe a week. And that was probably one of the craziest nights of my life because I felt like I was like inside of a movie. It was like,
was it like a low?
What was that? What?
Was it like a low for you, or was it like a fuck, I'm finally free?
It was a survival. It was like, I don't even know how to, like, I can kind of process it right now.
Got it.
But it was like...
Was it like a church intervention on their behalf? Like, you're ruining your life. Don't do this. You're giving stuff up. We've raised you better. Like that kind of stuff? Or?
I didn't even give them the opportunity. My parents came up and I just fucking ran.
Got it. Was anybody else saying anything, or were they just all sitting there? Because I remember when I told my last group of people, I'm done doing this church thing. So I'm like having a little flashback in my own mind.
Yeah, it was the way the apartment was set up. It wasn't like there was people in the kitchen. We had a long hallway.
Okay.
And then there was my living room where my couch and stuff. And there's a couple other people over there. My kids are sleeping in their little room. And then they were coming up the stairs. I'm in the hallway, and it was like it was a commotion.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not talking to any of you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know why you're in my house right now.
Yeah.
Like, you guys need to leave.
Got it. And they weren't having
nobody
it.
left. No. And so it was like, it was definitely like an intervention. Like they were
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, they were going to try to convince me that I needed to do something different. And that, at that point I had already made my decision.
Yeah.
And so then I ran out. It was like, I was running from my own house. It was like the strangest thing. I actually never went and slept back in that apartment.
Wow. All right. Did you go straight to the other girl?
The complexity of it was that she was married and I was married.
Okay.
And we left. And a couple months later, she was pregnant. Like, it was like a pretty quick, like,
we're doing this thing.
Yeah, we're doing this thing. Which led me to my story when I was last in Dana Point.
Yeah.
We came here for a wedding that I wasn't invited to because her family was pissed at me too. And she was pregnant at the time.
Got it.
And I think it was like maybe 6 months after this all had happened.
Wow. Okay.
And so that was...
Are you still in contact with any of those friends in the past? Any of the church friends or anything like that?
My pastor.
Your pastor?
Yeah, he's actually an ex-pastor as well. So there was a lot of religious pieces with him, but he was, one of the things I loved about him is he was super authentic still. And he ended up we actually kind of collided journeys together where he was actually going through a divorce very soon after.
Same thing though, sexual shit?
No, it was very different. He was very committed to his wife, or she wanted to leave, where I don't really remember all the details around what her thing was, but she was kind of pitting him as manipulative, and
Got it.
It was more.
Yeah, he probably was. I mean, I've not met a guy literally yet that understands anything that we teach that's been in the church. Not fucking one guy.
Yeah.
And especially not a pastor.
Well, yeah,
he's probably a good dude. I'm not saying he's dumb. He's just probably blind.
Well, no, but there was also like in Massachusetts, there's this like belief system programming piece where women are, utilize like taking this piece of like men are being controlling.
Yeah.
And they're stepping into their masculine or whatever. And they're labeling things and gaslighting things that aren't actually true.
Got it.
So I think that was a big piece of what was going on.
Got it. I still think he was probably a controlling dick.
He could have been. I don't know.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I don't even know the guy. I'm just messing. I'm messing.
He could have been. I don't really know because I don't know what was going on behind closed doors.
Of course.
So
we just talk a little shit just for fun. I got to talk shit on pastors. They're just fun to talk shit on.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I was one. Yeah.
You get the pass.
I don't know why anybody ever came into me and listened to me any advice about fucking anything I said ever. I would not listen to a 26-year-old right now about anything.
Yeah. No, I get it. No, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just so I lost all my friends that were around there too, and it's not even that I lost them. It's just I couldn't handle being around them anymore because they had no openness of mind to be like, "Wow, so you're more free now? Yeah. You experience more love? Way more. How about more peace? Yeah. You mean you experience more of the fruits of the Spirit outside the church than you did inside? Yeah." They go, "That can't be true." Yeah. Like they won't believe it.
I really agree with you, Keith. Like I've never experienced. I'm actually experiencing like spirituality and God more now,
way more
than I ever had before. And I had this, one of my best friends. He wasn't living in the city at the time, but we're actually still really much best friends. He kind of rode through it with me in a way where he didn't like condemn me in it.
Yeah.
And, but we have this conversation because he still wants me to like connect with Jesus the way he sees Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Like if you feel connected to God through Jesus, that's great.
Yeah. No, they can't hear that.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's anathema. That's anathema. You're cursed.
I think he's starting to kind of be like, he's starting to see it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it for most of them, it's just so black and white. Like you have to follow the rules and you have to be this way and you have to be that way.
Why do you think they're so resistant to outside ideas? Is it the fear of hell? For me, it was that. It's like, bro, if I believe that, I'm going to be kicked out and ostracized. I can't have that.
I think it's safety. I think it's far more difficult to confront what it actually means to be authentic in yourself than it means to actually follow the everybody else, like the herd.
Yeah.
And so to be willing to be what I think Christ wanted everybody to be, which is themselves, and which I think that what he was.
Yeah.
He was willing to die for who he was.
Yeah.
And the people around him, they died more horrific deaths than him.
Yeah.
And, I think it's this war on fear that, we're designed for survival mechanisms. And as we've developed into consciousness, it's been, that's been the thing that we've had to confront. And so when we talk about things like religion or politics or whatever it is, there's a, for lack of a better term, a program around, I need to follow this to be safe.
Yeah.
And so it's a safety mechanism.
Makes
so
sense.
I think when people, when somebody doesn't like you, oftentimes it's not really, it's a mirror of there's something threatening about you that draws them to want to not like you.
That's a good point.
So that's where I found it's, because I've spent a lot of time, like when I went through all of that, I've done, like what saved me is I spent like $8,000 on Tony Robbins and finally awoken to the fact that I was like the creator of my own reality and was able to actually start to have a say on where my life went, even after all of this stuff happened.
Yeah.
And so as I've gone through my own journey through that, I've been thinking deeply about these things because I see people very differently that, we want to place people in different boxes. But we're all human.
Yeah.
And we're all meant to be divinely connected to God. How does that work in terms of, well, she's manipulative over here and they're controlling and an asshole over here. What's going on here? Because, I would tell you like a couple of years ago, I'd be like, my son's mother, like, man, like she's evil.
Yeah.
But I don't see her that way anymore. I just see I just see the things that haven't been repaired that has her see things through a filter.
Yeah.
Where she can't help it.
That's so wise to see that, though. How did you come to that understanding? You realizing that she's just got projections and fears and shit like that. Most people don't come to that, dude. That's so advanced, in my opinion.
Well, I had to come to that because freedom. So if I wasn't able to see that, I would be stuck in anger and frustration and bitterness, and I couldn't own it.
Yes.
That was the thing that was what brought me to understand that. Because if I think everything that I was asked recently, I teach a lot of like mission, vision, and values because it's a really important thing for clarity and structure for men to understand where am I going and why.
Sure.
But I was running my first mastermind actually, and one of my guys, he said, "Well, what are your values?" And I was like, "Fuck, like what are my like?" In that moment, I was like thinking like, okay, like I'm teaching this stuff, like I can't be. I was like, I gotta be honest with you, like I can boil it down to this one value. And actually, as I think about it, maybe it's two, but it's that courage over fear. And so or love over fear. And that if I'm making, because I'm very intentional, Keith, like, and Sabrina would tell you, like, she thinks I'm manipulative, how intentional I am with it.
Okay.
But that if I'm always making decisions out of, is this love or is this fear? What I'm doing is I remove those pieces, because if it's fear, it means I'm covering up something for me and it keeps me from freedom. And that's the thing that I don't want. I want to be free.
Yeah.
Like I want to be free sexually. I want to be freed spiritually. I want to be freed physically. Like I lost 60 pounds through part of my journey. Like I had the 6-pack for the first time. I was a fat kid for most of my life. Even through the academy, I was like, I'm 20 pounds lighter than I was in the academy.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
You look great.
But it was emotional.
You look like
stuff.
fucking Michael Chandler, like you're a little wrestler.
I'm actually a little, I had surgery about a year ago. So I'm like, I haven't been back in my like gym game the way I want to be.
Yeah.
But there's another reason why I'm leaving. But I base everything off of this freedom piece, because I know for me, like even with my relationship with Sabrina, like she knows the door is available to her at any time. Like I'm not going to stand in front of it, and I'm not going to try to hold you back, but just know that I want you here.
Yeah.
And her knowing that, it's such a stupid small, like the small things matter. And when we first started dating, we've been together for about 2 years now. And there's all different kinds of stories in between with different women and figuring all this stuff out. But, I remember she was in Florida and I was in Massachusetts, and she sends me a text, and I wasn't committed. I took about 9 months to commit to her, because I'd already been through all this stuff. I was like, I'm not choosing you until like, I think that this is like,
for sure,
because my choice it means something to me. And I actually told her, like, I think it was probably like first or second day, like, make it impossible for me not to choose you. It was like, such an arrogant thing to say. She's like, you were an asshole back then. I was like, but it was confidence. I knew
who I was.
I knew who I was and how important it was. And I didn't care if that offended you. And so we're dating long distance, and there was just something very unique about her, because at that point I kind of figured out, like I have this, I'm very influential with women. I was able to relate with women much differently than 99% of men. Because
of your understanding of emotional regulation, that type of shit? Is that what you're talking about? Or
I hadn't fully figured that out. No, there was just, I don't know, like, we're all gifted with certain things. And for me, it was like an intuition with women. Like most guys are like, I don't understand women. For whatever reason, I did.
Got it.
And it was like, I think you're into real estate, like you kind of understand that game, right? I just understood it like intuitively for whatever reason. Not when I was married, but later. And
experience will do that for you.
Yeah.
Experience is a fucking real handy thing for intuition.
Well, I didn't date from 19 to 25. Like that wasn't a thing. I got
married at 18 and got divorced at almost 30.
Yeah.
So similar story.
Very similar. Yeah.
I had to go put some miles on the road after I got my first divorce. I'm like, we're going to need some experience. We're going to understand this thing.
Yeah. I think I lost track. I don't know what it was.
Tell me, I have a question that's burning a hole in the back of my mind. You said you understand things about sexuality that you didn't before. And then you were saying about with Sabrina. So I want to answer that question.
Story, that's right.
And then the story about Sabrina.
And it's so controversial. And I love this.
Okay.
But women are far more sexual than men.
Okay.
And I believe that if we look from a design standpoint, that women were created to be sexual. They can orgasm multiple times. It's the parts of their body are designed for it. And it's not, their life force energy, the ability to give life. And it's not just from a child perspective. You can think of, there's two examples I give is that, when you walk in the room and she's excited to see you, what do you feel inside? Because it's really hard to measure these things without like being able to describe it. But what do you feel inside when you walk in the room and she's excited to see you and she wants to come up and give you a kiss and she just lightly touches you? It fills us as men. It's like the you go to the gas station and you're getting gas. Yeah. Or has there ever been a time in your life where you've met a woman that is much older, like maybe she's in her 60s, 70s, or 80s, but something about her energy that's attractive about her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a woman out there. I can't recall her name right now, but she's really in the men's space and supporting men. She has that energy. She's like in her 60s or 70s.
Danielle Haig?
No, it's
Armstrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Danielle Haig is like somewhat attractive. The other one is not even attractive at all, but her energy
Her energy is incredible.
Yeah.
And that, if you can start to, like, one of the things I kind of found over the last like maybe 5 years is I can uniquely tell when a woman is extremely feminine versus not feminine at all, because there's actually a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And so
huge difference. One you want to be around, the other one you do not.
Right, but guys don't understand it.
Yeah, they don't.
It's like
break it down though. This is getting interesting.
Yeah, so let's
break it down.
There's that Greek mythology where the guys would tie themselves to the ship when they would go past this island. Because the women would sing from the island and draw them in and then kill them.
Yeah.
What's the same kind of energy is that it draws you in. So the sexuality piece of it is that she's designed for it. We're actually not designed to be in pursuit of sexuality. We're actually are the ones that should be chased after. And what I found was that the further I leaned away from I need to have sex, the more sex I had. And then the better sex I had, because there's different different quantity or quality of sex. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just I fucking came. I actually don't orgasm nearly as much as I used to. I actually try to hold it because for me, I actually appreciate that. And I want, like, the presence of what we bring is what actually drives it.
Yeah.
And like,
sitting in a pool of femininity, we're in no rush. We're going to hang right here. Yeah. It's the fucking greatest thing ever. It's what we love.
Yeah. And once you experience, like, most guys don't even know it exists.
Yeah.
Because they've not ever, I didn't experience it when I was married or.
Me either.
Yeah.
For my first marriage, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
No clue.
Yeah.
About anything.
Yeah. I didn't understand this until I had a mentor that actually talked about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't understand. It was
what was his name?
Graham White. Up in Canada. So they ran a coaching business called What Evolved Women Want. So they mostly worked with women. And I jumped on I was going through a breakup at the time that was a pretty influential breakup. Not either of my kids' mothers. And I was like looking for a therapist. It was like in the middle of COVID, and I couldn't get a therapist or whatever during that time. And so my friend was like, hey, you should check out my coaches. They mostly work with women, and so I ended up jumping on a call with them, and I was like, oh man, this is different.
Yeah.
And so him and I connected, and we're actually friends now. And it's like, it went beyond mentorship, which is amazing. But we would talk on the phone. We were talking about stuff I never even heard people talk about.
Yeah.
And, help me remove pieces of the shame around. He gave me permission.
Yeah.
For the first time to be like, no, you can be an asshole. I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
It's great. And how important it was to know that I didn't have to conform to what I was told I was supposed to conform to.
Yeah.
That I could just be me. I could, we always kind of joked that he was a stoic leaning towards his heart, and I was heart-centered leaning towards stoicism. Mm-hmm. And that the two of us together was just kind of a unique bond. Cause I think, it was interesting because when in mentorship, you sometimes you learn from your mentees as well. And I was sharing some things with him where, it's so interesting when I would call it a confrontation, but it wasn't confrontation when I disagreed with him on something. Because for me, that was so hard. He's my mentor. Yeah. He's supposed to be.
Especially growing up in religion, you're not supposed to fucking buck against your mentor, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But that was a big moment for the two of us because he's like, oh, okay. Like like Tony's making it because he can disagree with me.
Yeah.
And that how significant it is that like, we don't need to agree with everything. Like I tell my guys, like, you don't need to agree with everything I say.
Yeah.
Like don't.
But test it, and if you don't have good fruit, then you might want to agree with me.
Right.
We have guys come in the marriage game all the time, and I'm like, well, your fruit sucks, so your theory must be shit.
Yeah. Well, it's not working.
It's not working.
You need results.
Yeah.
And how do you measure those?
So how do you help guys now? Tell me about that. How do you help guys? So guys look you up. You're getting on your social. You've obviously got a great coach and mentor in Bedros. So how do you help guys? Who's the guy? Who is this guy listening right now? How do you call him out so that he understands you're his guy?
It's been interesting going down this journey of like, who is it that we help the best? And what I kind of found is that, guys that have already kind of figured out an awareness piece, but typically they're like high performance, they're risk takers, they're a little different, like they got their screws loose a little bit.
Yeah.
But they know there's so much more to life than what's going on right now. Typically I'm finding a lot of guys that are in, whether they're going through a breakup or they're going through relational difficulties, but our ideal guy wants to get to the core of who he wants to become. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we work around a lot of belief system stuff, reprogramming that. We talk a lot about evolved masculine and feminine dynamics. And what is it? We're human, but we operate very differently as men, and the way that women operate is very different as well. And then we take it even a step further and we go into this nervous system repair work where we're starting to go back into the old stories that unless you repair those old stories, you actually can, in my opinion, never really fully operate at your highest potential.
I so agree with you 100%. What's one of those made stories that you keep seeing from guys time to time?
Dude.
Rejection wound, judgment wound.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Keith, there's a lot of guys out there that, when they were younger, they were touched, they were sexually molested, they were, and like no judgment around that at all. But, it's not something that I experienced personally as a kid. My wounds were very different.
Yeah.
But there's so many guys that we're coming across. It's such a hard thing to talk about because with inside masculinity, like how do you can't share that if you want to be a man.
Yeah. Who says that? That's so dumb.
I know,
All
it's
my
crazy.
strongest friends are like, yeah, my babysitter whipped his penis out in front of me and my brother. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? That's disgusting. It was as if it was a normal thing he did with people. Why the fuck did my parents let two dudes babysit my brother and I?
Yeah.
It's just like, but I was a little kid, so I didn't do any of that. I was just a little kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if he would have touched me with something, I would have been like a little kid. I couldn't have done nothing against this guy.
Right. It was defenseless.
But why would be people?
Why would they?
I know why they're radically ashamed of it because they think, wow, I'm damaged goods or, but that's, I hope that they hear loud and clear. That doesn't make you anything other than you went through something that you had no control over.
No, I 100% agree with you. No, I 100% agree with you.
I think your voice needs to be more out there telling guys that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you because there's a piece.
It's amazing.
there's a piece too where like, and I see my story is very unique in the sense that, homicide, like I loved my job. I appreciated what I did, but the bigger piece of it is that I'm more trustworthy for a lot of guys because I've seen dark shit. It's like a warrior piece. Like I've been scarred in battle. Because if you have a over spiritualized guy that's like super conscious and he feels feminine to us.
Yeah.
No, I want to feel like I can kill something.
Yeah.
I'm I'm built for war.
Yeah.
There's something me and Sabrina joke about all the time is like, she's like, how can you go 16 hours and like, you're just going after your mission? I'm like, because I'm designed for this, honey. You need to go rest. Like go take a break. You don't need to like operate the way I'm operating because you weren't designed for it. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I think, that's a unique piece where I can lead you guys, I can lead them into the emotional piece while also being like, no, you have permission to be a man. And like, and being able to speak about this stuff in a way that, there's no shame around it. Like a lot of, guys coming on social media, I think I had a reel do pretty well. And it was after a breakup and I'm crying. I recorded myself during this period of time, had no intention of ever posting it ever. Like I didn't really know I'd be here today where I am.
Yeah.
And I decided, you know what, that's a good visual for people to see on what we go through and behind the scenes. And, the guys on there, calling me a simp and all these things. I'm like, bring it on, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So like, this is good because you guys don't understand how blocked you are.
Yeah. They're way down the path of understanding.
Yeah. And it's, because Sabrina's on social media too, and her page is doing really well. And she's like, I think at first it was like very hard for her, like all of the negativity. And I was like, no, honey, they have a role.
Yeah.
Their role is to drive your algorithm to the guys that need to see it. And the guys that are going to work with us are going to see how you respond to these other guys.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
Yeah.
And to remove, like, cause these guys they're hurt. Like they're hurt too. Who knows what happened in their backstory?
Have you ever went on social media and left a negative comment for anybody?
No.
Neither have I.
Keith, I'll take it a step further. I wasn't in the comment section. Like I wasn't like commenting even on stuff I liked. Like I would view it, like it. I would never leave a comment.
I've never met a guy do it either, like that we would want to hang out with. So I was just like, oh well, shit, this.
Never. I've never left a comment.
This isn't even. My buddy John said the best. He goes, the broke guys speak in the comments, and it drives the algorithm so that the rich guys can see it.
Yeah.
Because the guys, nobody I know that's rich doing their thing is ever in comments going, this is a scam. You're dumb. How can you charge? Nobody does that I know. Not one person.
No.
But yeah, my buddies and I, we all hire coaches.
Yeah.
And we all want the fucking best.
Yeah.
So you're onto something there, man.
No,
you really picked it up.
Yeah, no, I picked it up quick too. And I think a lot of that resistance is like I did. So a big piece of that was after these two relationships where I have kids, I fell in love with this Puerto Rican girl. And it was like, I was like, wow, this is the one. Mm-hmm. And that brought me down that whole train where I'd already started to repeat these patterns. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't have kids with her, but yet I feel bonded to her far more deeply. And it was like this traumatic bond thing that had happened. Like I thought she was my soulmate. I thought she was like the one. And when that all ruptured, that was the big break point when I finally had a mentor. His partner, Jen, she's Jen Funk. She's incredible. She's now working with men, doing some very similar work. And I was with them during that period of time. And that's where I quit drinking. That's where I got my 6-pack. That's where I cut out everything that was comfortable. Yeah. And I was like, I need to figure this the fuck out. Yeah. Because when I figured this one out right here, then I want to be able to do this in a way where I can teach other guys how to do it. Yeah. And that was the motivation during that time. I was like, I need to do this one right. So that when it comes time to teaching it, that because I was at that point where I was thinking like I wanted to work with men, but I wasn't really sure what it was going to look like. Yeah. This is like about 3-4 years ago. And that was the transition. And I started a key story for me. And it's something so stupid. Like if you were having a conversation with somebody and they talked about it, you'd be like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. But when I was 10 in 4th grade, my best friend at the time decided he didn't want to be best friends with me anymore. And he wanted a new best friend. And I had no idea that created this abandonment thing in me that drove me for the rest of my life.
Same.
Yeah. And that was great. Like, it was and I reflected. So I did all this work around that for a period of time. Yeah. And then it was like an awakening.
Yeah. You're right. You said if you don't deal with these things underneath, they're going to continue to drive everything. You're going to get the exact same result over and over and over again. It's why I've been so deep on this stuff for like the last year about figuring this out. We're doing a workshop February 26th and 27th for guys to like walk them through the process that I've used to literally free myself. Yeah. Like rejection is a conditioned response. Rejection isn't real, because if everything is an invitation, never an obligation, nobody can reject you.
Right.
It's an infinite frame that you cannot break.
Right.
You can't break. If everything's an invitation and whether you come or not is going to determine your life, not mine, then there is no rejection.
Right.
Imagine a guy, but that's the freedom that you're talking about. This is the freedom I'm talking about.
I like how you frame that, because that's what it is.
It's all reframing.
Yeah. There is no rejection, because that just means it wasn't for me.
It wasn't for you.
Actually, you're freeing me, because had I said it was rejection, what it does is it traps me from actually experiencing what I'm supposed to experience.
Yes.
Because if I stayed there, it might actually turn out worse.
It has to, because you've let somebody else dampen your authentic flame,
right? As
if you needed their fuel for it to burn.
Right.
That's finding something outside of you to create the peace and satisfaction inside you. That's the losing game the entire time. We had this really cool Super Bowl party, and had some new guys that are coming over, and they're real sharp business guys. And they were telling me about their dating woes. And they're like, yeah, I can get a piece of ass here and there, whatever. But it's like, I want the good girl, whatever. And they go, where do you think the best place to go to find the date is? Like, where's the best place to get like the best women? And I go, you're not going to like any of my answers. I know you guys are going to like my answer. And they're like, what is it? I said, you got to go within.
Yeah.
You got to heal all this bullshit.
Yes.
This validation. I fucked hundreds of women trying to become validated. It didn't fucking validate. It was a lot of fun. And I still fucking love women as much as I do then as I do now. But I don't need it for validation. When you talk about the less I needed sex, for me, it was the less I needed sex for validation. Sex was a soothing tool for me, like a fucking binky. It's like, once I lost that sex is validation, money is validation, guess what flows to you more? More fucking sex, more fucking money.
100%.
Because now you're just a steward of the thing rather than I need the thing to be able to survive. And you change who you are fundamentally as a creature.
Well, I'll even take it a step further.
Take it a step further, bro.
You're actually removing the layers of who you were meant to be.
Exactly.
You're getting to the core of it, and the authenticity that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, is
the freedom that you get to experience, because everything is a mirror.
Yeah.
And so when she's upset with me, this is and we'll put this into practical terms. When she's upset with me, she's not upset with you. She just has her emotions, and there's some story that's running in the background.
Yeah.
And so, I don't think I ever finished my first story, but about Sabrina, but there was, I think it was maybe like 8-9 months ago, I kicked her out of my house.
Okay.
And it was so small, like people would be like, you're a fucking dick. Like, why'd you do that? And the reason I did it was because she was confronting, like she'd crossed a line for me on multiple times. Like, and I think boundaries are something like, we could kind of go through them, but boundaries, you can't just be black and white about and rigid about things, because you'll never be in relationship with a woman if that's the case. You have to figure out how do I frame and contain in this relationship in a way that she feels safe and she's actually coming to me even more. Mm-hmm. But she had crossed this line for me, and I knew through my journey that I use an example for guys that, imagine yourself as a blade. Mm-hmm. And that the sharpness of the blade, when you first got into a relationship, it was sharp and you were dangerous, and that's good.
Yeah.
But over time, she took these pebbles and she started running it along the blade, like, ooh, that hurts, or, oh, don't do that, or this or whatever. And it started to dull the blade. And then all of a sudden, 10 years down the road, she's like, oh, I'm not attracted to you. I don't want to sleep with you anymore.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what happened? It's like, no, these small little things over a period of time, if you're 2 degrees off, 10 years down the road, you're miles apart.
Miles
apart. And so knowing what I knew from all of my failures, I was like, okay, I'm not letting. And so she was kind of pressing and testing this one little area. And it was around my kids. She doesn't have any kids. She's never been married.
Yeah.
And so she's pressing on this. I said, don't do that right now. And she was like, and then she brought it back up later. And I was like, what are you doing right now? Like, why are you like, we've already talked about this. And I started to experience something I hadn't experienced with her yet. I was getting frustrated and a little bit angry inside. I was like, this is weird. And so I left the room because I went and did my own little process of like, hey, what's going on? I'm always checking in with myself. Like, what's going on in here? Because there's a reflection. Yeah. Am I saying yes to something I shouldn't be saying yes to? Or am I not agreeing to something? Right. And so I went downstairs and I was like, the fuck am I doing? Like, she's in my, like, why am I? So I went upstairs. I was like, honey, I'm sorry. You have to leave right now. Like, you can't be here. And she was she's never been kicked out by a man before. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, you crossed the line. I can't have you here right now. I don't know how this is going to transpire later, but for me right now, that was the line. And she left. She was pissed. She was like, I'm breaking up with this guy, blah, blah, blah. I didn't care. Yeah. And the icing on the cake was after a couple hours, she drove around, she came back. I was dead asleep in the bed. And I was like, well, like nothing was wrong for me. Yeah. And she comes like, you were asleep? I was like, yeah, I was sleeping. And she's so pissed. And I think that she was pissed for like 3 days. And eventually when she was able to calm down, I was able to explain to her, is like, you keep crossing this line that I've explained to you. And when you cross that line, and if I allow you to cross that line, what's going to happen is you're not going to see I'm safe any longer because I'm not holding to who I say I am.
Exactly.
And it's so important that I kicked you out. And we use this as a teaching story because she's like, as I was able to like kind of work through it with her in the conversation and hold ground in it, she thanks me for it. She says, thank you so much for doing that. Can you imagine guys getting the experience like they piss off their wives and then they thank them later for why they pissed them off?
The guys don't understand it.
And they don't.
They don't know that if they have a boundary and you don't actually have a consequence, you don't have a boundary.
Yeah.
And step one, do you even have a high fucking standard to begin with?
Right.
Which is what it sounds like you adopt, and you go, I'm going to live a high standard. I'm not going to cross someone's boundaries.
Yeah. The flip side of it, Keith, is that I hold myself to such a high standard. Yeah. Like I don't ever like emotionally react to her.
Yeah.
Like I don't respond like upset. Like, oh, you like, I think it was even we were on this trip. She was pushing me on like, I'm not like, homicide detective or not great with time management. I'm like in the flow of things. I get to enjoy the moment. And she's always pushing me on time. She kind of came at me a little rough, and we have an agreement. Like you want me to do something, influence me.
Yeah.
Like manipulate me with your feminine energy. Yeah. So that I want to do it. And so it's a choice for me. And it's like this thing that we do. And she didn't that day. I was pissed and that she kind of like, it's just like, why? Like, I'm like, cause you keep doing this thing that we keep talking about. I understand you don't fully understand it quite yet, but you're like, she's been growing in it and stuff because the stuff we're talking about is super complex. Yeah. Like I understand that, how complex it is because we're talking about energy at that point and not conversation. It's not the words. Yeah. It's the energy.
It's what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what you're feeling. It's what I'm reflecting what you're feeling towards me. Yeah. And that's what a lot of guys experience is like, well, she's saying nothing, but she wants me dead right now. And like that's the thing that, they're like, oh, I don't know what to do with that. Yeah. How do I call that? How do you explain that? Right. I'm fine is like one of probably the death words that all guys hear is like, well, I'm fine. It's like, no, you're clearly not. But if I push it, it's going to get worse. And if I do this, whatever. But, that I think that happened a couple of days ago, and we're talking about it, and she's like I still have to keep figuring this out, and she's like thanks me for being able to hold my ground in it. It was she's like I hate how right you are all the time, and I told her, I said the reason I'm right so much is because I don't need to be right. Yeah, I just need to be me in the process, and whether you want to be here or not, that's totally up to you. But is it like that invitation thing you were talking about?
For me, like Jess and I, we don't believe in marriage certificates. We think that's state ran horseshit. And like If that piece of paper is holding you to me, then we got a fucking problem.
Yeah.
We got to, you know what I mean? So we were about ready to run an ad. We had like toilet paper, like a college degree, and like a marriage certificate. And I was going to say, what is the most valuable thing here? College degree. Well, you're not going to fucking really use this to get anything. Nobody I know that's making a bunch of money goes, I went to college for this shit, so that's not worth it. 50% of you motherfuckers get divorced, so apparently this paper doesn't mean a whole lot of shit to you. But this thing, you guys can't live without. So, and we can't either. So it's this understanding of, I want Jessie to be with me because she goes, there's nowhere else better in the world to be than to be with this motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you get the sex life you want, because she's fucking stoked to be with you.
Yeah.
Not, oh my God, he's such a fucking asshole all the time about everything and anything, and he only gets his way whenever. It's like, that used to be me. Now it's like, no, this is my teammate. This is, I look at the guy as the leader because she goes, well, wherever you fucking go, that's where I want to go.
Right.
Not because I'm the leader, do what I fucking say. If that's how you lead, you're not really a leader. Leadership is influence, right?
Right.
Cool, you want me to do something, Jesse? You know, if you say, hey, can you help me? Guess what I want to do? Stop everything and help you.
Yeah.
But if you fucking use that little tone, like, can't you see I need some help? The answer is no, I can't, and I fucking still don't.
Yeah.
Have a good time fucking being a bitch to someone else.
Exactly.
That's the immediate response, right? That comes up and go, whoa, wait a second. Okay. So these are beautiful concepts. It sounds like these guys are going to learn a lot from you. You also have a podcast that they can go listen to. How do these guys find more about you and dive in more to this beautiful mustachioed man?
Yeah. The Tony Bova Show.
Okay.
And, have you on there.
Can't wait.
Yeah, 100%. And I can be found everywhere, Tony J. Bova. So TonyJBova.com, on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever they are, they can find me, Tony J. Bova. And, yeah, man, we're super excited, not just for like numbers, but impact.
Yeah.
Like the right guys in the right seats.
Well, you know freedom, so you want to dispense it, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because it's the angle of relationships. Like, I don't think guys realize how much more money they're going to make if they dial in their relationship piece. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, she can 10x you.
Yeah.
If you're, if you're in one right now, or if you're looking for one, she can 10x you. And it's probably the most.
If you are attractive.
Yeah, but that's not looks.
No, I'm saying, it's the energy.
Yeah.
I always say in my book, game is energy. Everything is energy. If you have fucking bullshit energy, I don't give a. You can be hot as shit. Dude, I've had women that were with guys that were hot as shit, and I talked to them for 14 seconds, and they were like, who the fuck are you? And I didn't look anything like their dude. But you know what? Go for the soul, you get the hole.
Yeah.
Go for the soul, you get the hole.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I want them to follow you. Guys, you need to go follow Tony J. Bova on all spots, the Tony Bova Show. You're the type of guy I feel like that next time you're out here, we could sit down and we go, okay, let's break down these 3 scenarios. How would you coach them through it? Here's how I'd coach them through it. And let's see kind of what that would be. It'd be pretty practical. It sounds like you've got a lot of chops in that.
Yeah.
That would be really fun.
I really enjoyed this.
So we have a gift for you. We like to do this for all the guests on the show. And this is our gift for you to have you.
Oh, wow.
Remember,
you guys did that fast.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's what we do around here. Yeah, man. So thank you for being on the show, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This is incredible.
Boom. Let me see it. I like checking it out.
That's awesome, man. Holy smokes.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, that thing's going to be epic.
How'd you do that so fast?
Well, we know shit. We do things. You notice we're blue belts around here, so
I see that.
We know extra moves.
I like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll have more conversations like that for sure. So
awesome.
All right, gang, you guys heard it here. This has been fun for me. The religious freedom that a lot of guys are not experiencing inside their religion, and it's a simple freedom. It's a freedom of being able to go, I have a question. Can I not be shamed for having this question? Yes, you cannot be shamed for having this question. Feel free. Have the question. The transition from that to rewiring your beliefs, I know it sounds like, how is that even fucking possible? Well, guess what? Somebody conditioned you early on and plugged in a program without you even knowing it. Now you're an adult. Wouldn't you want to pick the program you fucking run off of? Well, sounds like Tony can help you with that. We're also having a workshop February 26th, 27th right here. We have 15 spots and we've already got 12 of them filled. So It's going to be an absolutely deep time of going through these triggers and the emotions that come up, and we're going to show you that what you think is what you feel, and if you change what you think, you can change how you feel, and we're going to show you new frames all the way throughout that. So, if you love what you heard, don't be a nerd and spread the word. Go give this to some other guys and let them know. And if you're struggling in your marriage right now, and you're like, do you know what? She's not initiating. She's not enthusiastically participating. In fact, I think she loves the spreadsheets more than she does the bed sheets. Well, you can go to marriedgamebook.com and grab our book, or you can go to marriedgame.com as well. And if you're thinking here, Jesus, Keith, your triceps look amazing, I also want to be a Hulk, then you need to go to our number one sponsor, Gains in Bulk. Gainsinbulk.com/Yaki15. You can try out their amazing creatine and be fucking jacked and juicy like moi. That being said, keep crushing it, because that shit is contagious.